Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm your host, Mark. Today I'm joined by Daniel.
Hello.
And we've got a fun subject for today's video. This is actually a little bit more visual, so the podcast listeners might have to be using their imaginations a little bit. But
that's all right. Come check us out on YouTube for once.
Exactly, yeah. They come out on YouTube. You can look up from your sorting or building or whatever you're doing and see what we're doing. It's pretty fun. But Daniel, I'm so proud of you. You did not interrupt my introduction at all. You did a great job showing a lot of restraint, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Darn it.
Were you not thinking about it, or were you actually deliberately?
I didn't have anything clever to say.
That's good. All right. So the fun subject today is we got a large collection of Lego flyers / posters that would have been, included in set materials back from the mid 80s to the early 2000s. So a pretty good span of some of our favorite set lines.
Some sets would come with, because we recently got some older sealed sets from like Pirates, a few other older themes from the 90s.
Quite a few Pirates and such.
And even in those sealed sets, there were different ones of these inserts, and sometimes they were multiple. So I think they were just kind of chucking these in boxes.
Yeah, throw them an extra flyer. Yeah.
I don't think there was really any system to it. There would be the instructions, and then like one or two of these things folded up, and then maybe something else for like a mail-in contest or whatever. Who knows? So
exactly. Good paper materials.
Not as much of a system to it, but just lots of promotional materials.
One thing that we have looking back is a ton of nostalgia for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's lots of great artwork. There's sets featured. Sometimes you'll even see prices or years attached to them. And it's like, oh wow, if only I could go back in time and look at some of this stuff on store
one's
shelves.
Just kind of a nice little sampling of what was in a given year without having to buy without trying to collect like every shop at home catalog or whatever, from every year.
Yeah, it's definitely just kind of a little highlighting a few sets in each poster. But we were deciding we were going to go through these chronologically for you guys.
That makes the most sense, yeah.
And we may as well dive in. This is the oldest one we have, and these are some really rock solid themes here. You got Duplo, Basic, and Technic on the back.
This is not long after the advent of the minifigure.
Exactly. This is Lego System and Lego Land were probably still relatively new things back then.
Yeah.
This poster we figured out is from 1986.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long time ago. It's before either of our times, but there's some sets we definitely recognize here. Like in the Jousting Knights, the Catapult Black Falcon's Fortress is probably the most famous on this list. Maybe with some
I would say
classic space competing, but
they're not the oldest classic space sets. But I mean, Cosmic Fleet Voyager, that's definitely a pretty popular one. Alien Moonstalker is the weird one with those big legs. So it's a recognizable one as to its popularity.
It's an
basically,
ATST.
It was one of the first mostly gray classic space sets, I would say. Some other small ones people might have nostalgia for. Probably some top contenders for people's first sets they might have ever had. Lunar Patrol Craft, Cosmic Charger, Starfire one with that printed piece. So. Some good stuff there.
Even the town stuff has some recognizable stuff. The service station looks pretty fun.
That Shell Station is a popular one for sure, yeah.
They actually have a little note at the bottom. Shell is a registered trademark of the Shell Corporation because that was a tie-in of a real business. It's pretty fun.
I love this guy down here in the corner on the classic motorbike style that actually has like the windshield, the police windshield. So
yeah,
that's a pretty cool one. I like that one. And then the back is just that's classic 80s kids.
Yeah,
right there,
this
playing
is
with their Duplo and Technic sets.
Foundational stuff, but nothing recognizable there. I mean,
not any heavy hitters. So if you have to choose a side to hang this one up on the wall, that's probably going on the back.
Yeah, I wonder where these kids are now that they've gone from their child modeling career. What are they doing now?
They were probably between 5 and 10 in these pictures, and that was, what did we say?
86. So do the
math. Add another at least 40-ish.
So these people are in their 50s now? So.
Yeah, they're probably grown and have their own kids that are probably grown up.
Pretty wild to think about that. But yeah, great poster. Let's keep moving on. That Lego themes will evolve before our eyes as we kind of go through these. And we'll try and throw up as much detailed B-roll as possible.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this
Maybe
one
even take some scans or something.
Also has Castle on the top row here, so that's a fun introduction. You got Forsman's Crossing. Ooh, that's a good one. Black Monarch's Ghost. And glows in parentheses. That's fun.
Yeah, that's why he glows.
It actually glows.
Well, I was going to comment. He's standing out here glowing pretty good in the little Black Monarch's little quadrant of this this back thing. But yeah, that's funny that they put glows on there.
International Jetport representing town system down here. That's
a classic set. I think, isn't that one that they re-released like 2 or 3 different times?
I don't think so. I think that's a different version. But I do like the way that tower looks. It's giving me Lego Island vibes for sure. With that little
with those panel pieces.
Exactly. We got some M-Tron making an appearance down here. The Megacore Magnetizer. What a set!
That's all the heavy hitters from M-Tron. I mean, I think there were only like 7 or 8 sets, and that's the 4 biggest ones. Probably.
That's most of them. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
They got boats and trains. They're still trying to reach the broadest of audiences here, so that's good.
And then for some reason we've got the monorail poking. So this is the Futuron monorail here coming across the path of the Megacore Magnetizer. Not sure what's going on there.
Maybe it was a similar time frame? I don't know.
But they're not even advertising the monorail in itself. So I don't know. It seems like the monorail marketing was
put
spotty.
To the side. Yeah, it's a sideshow of the main stuff here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So
nice pirate spread on this side. Look at that. Hoist the sails.
A wide screen perspective of the pirate scene. The Bluecoats are clearly being assaulted by the pirates. It's pretty wild. So.
Well, yeah. So this is. I guess it's not really El Dorado Fortress. It's just a sort of fort-like construction. But yeah, you got Captain Redbeard scaling over the side of the wall here with his hook wrapped up in the. Now, that's interesting. You wouldn't expect Captain Redbeard to be on the sort of charging front lines. But
yeah, climbing the fort walls to attack the well-armed Bluecoats. That's interesting. It's pretty brave of him. Pretty brazen.
Forbidden Island, that's a nice one. I don't actually see it in the scene here.
One thing to note as we go through these posters is this is a very dynamic scene, features multiple ships in a fortress.
Oh, I can't imagine working in the photography department.
This is only the beginning because the landscapes and the scenery gets more dynamic as we'll go through. I think some of the 90s stuff.
I mean, this is probably just a kiddie pool with an inch of water in it. You know, on the.
That might even be like acrylic or plastic or under something underneath it that's not actually letting stuff beneath it.
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking this guy was submerged, but he actually they probably just took his legs off. But you're getting some nice kind of
reflections,
reflections from the water on the hulls of the boats.
Yeah, they should probably say the boats do not float, but
they probably added that later, yeah, because nowadays, I mean, they put it on like everything.
It's a legal thing.
Does not actually float, yeah.
It's a legal thing, but yeah, no, this is fun. Hoist the Sails, 1990.
That's a good one.
Quite a year.
Yeah.
It was before our times still, but we're definitely recognizing more of the sets. So.
This is a good one here. Now you've got the huge glowing ghost. Now is this actually the same?
It might be similar.
It's the same photo.
It's a wider
from the
perspective,
one, but in the full spread. Yeah. You got the Forestman's hideout there. That's one that recently came back into the spotlight.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Black Monarch's castle looking really good there.
Yeah, that's nice. Looking good. Dungeon Hunters. I don't know. I was never much of a fan of the sets that were like cages pulled by horses. I don't know why. There were always, there were tons of prison transports and I don't know, cages, carriages that were like cages. I don't know. It was a very popular format for sets, but I never really liked.
Yeah, they were probably more entertaining as a kid to lock up the bad guy and carry him around.
Yes, but it's kind of like it's usually like a very slow procession. I don't know. I guess it's a setup for like a highwayman kind of break your buddy out of jail thing.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, I'm sure.
I guess I would rather have a castle with a dungeon.
What's on the back of this? Oh, we've got a couple of the other themes we've seen before, but maybe just kind of rotate it out a little bit.
Similar back, because here's the Megacore Magnetizer with the monorail again.
And an alternate shot of the pirate scene we saw earlier too. So that's interesting.
Yeah. It looks like they took that at the same time because it's all the same ships and the same little
different angle, maybe.
Different poses, different angle.
Good stuff. But yeah, and it's probably worth mentioning, all these posters are for sale. They're not online yet that I know of. I don't think we're planning on adding them to the website, but if you want one,
we'll probably,
let us know.
If you want a specific one here, let us know and we can get you set up. Otherwise, we'll probably just have them, here at the store in a bin, kind of like at a comic book store or record shop where you can just sort of flip through them and pick out some good ones that you like.
There are some good ones here, but this is, what year are we moving to now? This would be...
None of them are more than... 12. Most of these are $12. Some of them are $15 for maybe the older ones, but they're not really expensive.
I don't see the copyright on this here, but I'm thinking it's just after the 1990 year we were just looking at.
It's usually
here.
in the very smallest font.
91 next year.
We're up to 91 here.
So probably the main image here is going to be this airport shuttle monorail.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good inclusion of that set. And then you have quite the city scene behind it.
They're not really showing off any of the... Oh no, there's the station for the shuttle monorail, way up over there in the corner.
In the corner.
Otherwise, you're really just getting this kind of section of track here. Now, I like this. This helicopter up here was one of the ones with the 9-volt battery pack that had a bunch of lights and motors and stuff. So that's actually one that I think is kind of slept on.
Yeah, they were definitely throwing in some lights and sounds and motors with some of these, so that's fun to see.
Town stuff is not the easiest to get into. It's not the most interesting, but there are some gems for sure. A lot of people like the seaport sets and stuff with the shipping containers. There's some good ones. This one here, the launch and load seaport, is a popular one.
There's a tiny Nautica logo up in the corner for that in the Pure
Nautica,
Police set, so that might have something to do with like town trying to have little sub-genres in its section.
It was a lot of those ones that came with those big gray kind of raised road sections. They were usually using as docks or piers.
Yeah, fun stuff. Yeah, it makes me want to build a Lego city. But on the back we have more of the kind of traditional Legoland or system themes here. It's more pirates, another great image. Different perspective, definitely, so you can see the fortress in the back.
Yeah, so similar sets again, but yeah, now you got that. I think that's the Forbidden Island.
Or Rock Island Refuge,
Rock
perhaps.
Island Refuge, yeah, you're right.
Similar looking sets, but
yeah. Similar ideas.
And then this is a pretty dynamic battle scene here. You have the Foresters in open rebellion and battle against the Lionites. These literally tackling him off the horse.
That looks like a pretty bloody battlefield there. I mean, yeah.
There's clearly some casualties happening.
I don't really think of the Forestmen as usually engaging in
warfare.
Armed warfare on the battlefield. They're usually very sneaky and kind of cunning, I guess. You know, they're usually
stealing the treasure.
Up to something. Yeah, they're not just engaging in
outright conquest here.
Yeah, against. I mean, they're not wearing any armor. Look, this guy's got on a breastplate and a helmet.
Yeah, they're fighting armored knights.
With Robin Hood here, and that's. The odds are not in his favor.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. I do know that there's a bit of a reputation from some of these old art pieces of the Foresters being an absolute menace, so it might have something to do with that.
I guess.
It's pretty fun. All right, and then Blacktron beneath that. You got some Blacktron 2, a little bit of Mtron kind of peeking its way in. Yeah. I like that asteroid right there. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's a nice scene with that kind of rock work. A lot of this stuff was probably like paper mache.
Styrofoam cut out,
carved foam, something like that.
I'm tempted to do something like that, even if it's not necessarily Lego. That'd be pretty fun to do.
It'd be so easy to do. I mean, I always love seeing when people replicate kind of like the box art for something like Forestman, where you just have, you take some construction paper and you give it, the big yellow sun and kind of the rolling green hills.
Or like a render of the background.
To actually do some like sculpting like this, I think would be really, really
That'd be
neat
sick.
To see.
That'd be cool. And then kind of your standard trains and model team at the bottom there.
Yeah,
we'll see more of that.
Every one of these seems to have a little bit of Technic and model team and things like that.
They're throwing in some stuff for the people who don't care about pirates and castle and stuff. And we were just talking about Blacktron, but here's a huge feature for them, and I think that's actually technically a mock that they're sitting on here, this like spaceport.
There are a few of these. I mean, even something like that pirate fort. I think was a lot of stuff that they were building things for that weren't necessarily sets. Because like I know at home I have a big Mtron poster, and the guys are like on a base, and there was no Mtron base. They were all vehicles, so they definitely did some extracurricular building for some of these, as well as a lot of that sculpted rock work and stuff.
Yeah, I actually really like how they kind of inserted the bases into that little octagonal shape. They got a bunch of transparent neon bricks around the outside.
It's like a big sort of landing pad, but
cool.
It's just kind of floating out in the middle of space. I don't know if it's supposed to be like bridging between
planets or something.
Planets or big asteroids or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of zany.
Bunch of good sets, though. Some great competing themes. And then what year is this one? I gotta find the year and think about this. Let's see. 1992. So progressing year by year. A little bit heavier feature on space in this one.
Yeah.
Pirates in town making their way again, and also some Dungeon Master's Castle.
Yeah, always highlighting that glow in the dark.
What is it? Is it called that on Bricklink? I don't remember it being called Dungeon Master's Castle. I always thought that was
I don't know that one as well.
6086.
That's the other one with those yellow panels and that really expensive flag.
One of the most iconic castle sets, but right now the name that I'm remembering off of Bricklink is escaping me, but that's it's an unusual...
We'll have to fact check that one, yeah.
This could be a poster from a different location, maybe Canada or somewhere else. So
could be
you never know.
Different market or something. Now here we got boats that actually do float. So they are advertising that. These boats really float.
And add an exciting dimension to any Lego system collection.
Yeah, probably the next time they go back to boats that don't float, they may have to denote that in the fine print.
Exactly, at least on the box art.
Yeah.
But these images are a little too small to see too much, but there's some fun scenes going on. So.
Yeah, that's another good one.
What do we got here, Daniel?
Now, this is a classic one. I always love seeing the Dragon Masters one because they always have this scene where this castle is like perched on this like crazy cliff that looks like it should be physically impossible.
An upside down triangle right there. Yeah, great.
It's borderline like floating island, just with a bridge to it.
Very fantasy.
You can't see what's supporting it, but this is when Castle, definitely started to lean into the fantasy element. Once we got that big molded dragon right front and center, it's the biggest piece in this. In this
Featured
picture.
twice on this poster, actually, so that's great.
Yeah, there you go. You got Magisto riding his back and just torching this Dragon Knight down here.
Oh, this is fun. There's an upside down alligator head on the top of the second dragon.
Oh, they
see
put it
that?
on upside down.
Yeah,
they
the
did.
photographer didn't know the difference, so that's fun. Wow.
That's interesting because it actually forces the mouth to kind of be open at that angle, but look, his eyes look too low. It's amazing the errors you can find in
little
these
things
photos.
here and there.
Minifigures that don't have the right heads and stuff on them, because the photographers just
they're just posing it so it looks cool, and it does. So.
It does. Most people wouldn't. I'm surprised you caught that. I probably would not have noticed that.
Gotta have those eye for details, Daniel.
If I stared at this for a while.
Yeah, definitely love Dragon Masters. Very dynamic scene, and the rock work is really starting to show up here. So it's really fun to see.
They must have really started to bring in some model builders or model railroaders or something. Yeah, you're starting to get little kind of moss
pathways
and some foliage going on over here in the distance.
That's awesome.
The biggest set on here, you've got kind of really just sort of nestled
hidden away
in the side of the mountain there. I always love this sea serpent boat.
That's a great boat.
Oh man, here you go. I'll just let you have this one.
Some good stuff on the back too. You have the Islanders making an appearance.
That's the first one you want to talk about.
You won't get the.
Okay, you're saving it for last.
So the Islanders interrupting the Redcoats and Pirates fight. This is we'll see probably a bigger picture of this.
I think we got that one.
Pirates and Islanders poster coming up in just a moment. But you've got some Spyrius attacking the Unitron monorail here, so that's a pretty fun scene. The monorail isn't featured at all, but the Spyrius robot was. I don't know what's going on here, but
they're promoting the existence of the monorail, but it's not listed as one of the sets, so you don't know. If I got this, I wouldn't know what that set is called, what its set number is, or how to buy it.
Imagine calling Lego HQ. They didn't have a website at this time. So imagine calling them and being like, what's the monorail set?
You might not even know it's a monorail. You're like, I don't know, it's like a train-looking thing with gray track, or I don't know, it's featured with some Spyrius sets. Is it a Spyrius set? No, it's a Unitron set.
So Lego, our theory that we're coming up with as we do these posters is that Lego was trying to, put down the monorail system and not really show it off to its best advantage.
But they were putting it in the photography, so I don't know. They weren't really listing it as well as some of these other sets.
And I don't know why the policeman and the civilian are running from the woman sitting down having a drink, but that's
and a crab. She's having a drink and a crab, and the police officer, his hat's flying off in surprise.
He's falling backwards. It's very interesting.
I don't know.
But the Hot Rod Club seems to have gone haywire because this car is flying.
One of that later?
You might have one.
If we grabbed that one or not. We'll talk about that one. The Sail and Fly Marina is a really good set. Not a lot of people like that one. I like the nice little club restaurant there with the awnings, and you got all the little sort of dock spots for your various boats.
Great scenes, yes, absolutely. And then Belleville finishing it off the corner. You got some Pretty Wishes Playhouse set and Prize Pony Stables. Yep, some really iconic, memorable sets there.
You got any pretty wishes you want to make?
Pretty Wishes Playhouse. I don't think they would call it that anymore. They would definitely go through some HR and PR stuff before that. Sure. But what do we got here, Daniel?
This is looking great. Now we're getting into Islanders territory. We're here in 1994. So
great year, by the way.
This is a great one. There's a bigger poster of this too, but you've got King Kahuka here just sitting on just a mound of gold. Like, you would think the Pirates would have the mound of gold.
No, the Islanders got the gold.
The Islanders. But it's not like raw gold. It's like cast gold coins. So it's like, where are the Islanders getting cast
Somebody's
gold coins?
Somebody's been bribing King Kahuka to sail through these islands. Yeah, that's
maybe,
crazy.
I don't know. But, you're talking about a society that's got,
tribal
stretched hide drums and spears and shields, but they've got cast gold currency.
They have an absolute
pretty unusual
gold mine of coin there.
Yeah, so like you said, maybe they've got they're charging people passage or pillaging it from passers-by. But I mean, you've got this nice little cove scene here that some of the you got the Islander catamaran coming in and some of the other Islander sets, but the pirate ships are mostly docked outside in front of this imposing volcano here that's like mid-eruption. I mean, you've got smoke and light and
pretty
lava
dynamic.
pouring out of it, so That's a very dynamic ocean scene. I'm not sure where in the ocean this is supposed to be taking place, but it's
I want to make
a hazardous area.
I want to make this cliffside in Lego bricks because it looks
This
so
is really
wild.
nice. You've got all these nice little kind of
arches
under areas with the arches and stuff. Yeah, it would be a fantastic way to display sets or
make a pirate scene.
Additional Islanders mocks or something. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's a really nice sort of what do you call that? It's like an archipelago. Is that the right?
Yeah, it's very Caribbean, rock.
Yeah,
coast,
but like almost fantasy like. I mean, there are
insane,
real places that you get those kind of pillars and arches and things, but it's
cool.
Yeah,
that definitely sells the Islander product, and we've seen this. They swapped out Castle and
Islanders. They seem to just swap that one. So we'll move on to the next one there. Not too much on the back of this one.
Well, I mean, you got a big feature for Technic here. That's
that's probably one of the biggest appearances from Technic.
And some of the accessory packs happening here. The Sea Mates.
Yeah.
And a few of the smaller pirate sets.
Not a lot of people ordered those, really. The accessory packs. There's a nice Pirates one. But this one actually has an order form on it. So, I mean, here you can... This is what you used to do back then.
This is
the
wild.
Catalogs work the same way. 2 easy ways to order. By telephone, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Visa or MasterCard accepted. So you would just call them up, tell them the set numbers you would want it. They would give you your total, and you could give them your card information. That's probably more secure than the other option here, which is by mail.
Mail your
This
check.
is what they did before credit card. So you've got a little thing you can cut out here. You put your name, address on here. There's a checkbox for boy or girl. Not sure why that's relevant, but whatever. But you put your item number, your quantity. You would write the price in yourself. I don't know why. I guess to get your total, but presumably they would double check you on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would put a check in the mail. It says for credit card orders, please include your account number, expiration date, and your signature. So actually, you could do by card, but only by putting all of your card details
on a piece
in
of
the
paper.
Mail. That seems sketchy.
Wild stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was
Crazy.
a different era. It's
still going to Enfield, Connecticut, where headquarters has been now, I guess, at
for a
least
while.
Since then, but they're getting ready to move to...
They're going to Boston soon, right?
Boston,
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
So crazy the way you used to order this stuff. I mean,
the Wild West.
You were submitting your payment information. It would take the time for it to get to them, and then they would have to ship you your order. I don't know. It's kind of wacky.
It's a lot better nowadays. We'll just say that. It's a lot more secure. But the Metroliner.
Metroliner. It'd be hard to turn that down.
That'd be great. Yeah, there it is. Yep. Requires speed regulator. You got to get the...
So that was not included
apparently
in the Metroliner set. Interesting. But it did come with the track.
The track and the motor.
The 9-volt track.
Yeah, but you need the regulator,
but
which is...
speed regulator.
I remember having to acquire one because I have a sealed one.
That. Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that Octane tanker car. That's really nice.
So I found out from an RR Slugger video that those white octagonal dome pieces are in this set and the Ice Planet set.
In the little Ice Planet set. Yep.
Fun stuff. Mm-hmm. And a big model team feature
love that
too.
Big yellow. That yellow train station's a pretty iconic one. I think they have that on the tree at Lego House. I'm pretty sure they have that set.
And it's iconic in the Lego Loco video game too. You could put that down and it was pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah, a nice big model team truck. Mm-hmm. Always nice to see model.
And they're really going nuts with the styrofoam landscape now. That looks like almost...
Oh, that's insane. This is like getting borderline photorealistic here with this kind of deserty landscape.
Another great mock idea.
Yeah, so this one seems to be... I would say this one looks more targeted at adults to me. Yeah. I mean, these larger Technic sets, model team for sure.
Trains.
And then 9-volt trains. This one is less kid-oriented for sure.
For sure.
So, interesting to see that kind of transition. That's a similar back that we
there's the town background.
Bigger. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this one already, but so you've got the Sail and Fly Marina here, which we talked about, but this is kind of what we were talking about earlier with interesting mock editions. There's like this scaffolding structure over here to the left, and I don't think that appeared in any sets. That's as far as I know.
Seems to be a mock.
It certainly wasn't in the Sail and Fly Marina. Mm-hmm. So. Interesting stuff there. There's that airport, Century Skyway. That's the one that I think they re-released.
That's it.
Probably 2 or 3 different times. From let's see, what are we at now? 90, still 94. But I'm pretty sure they were releasing this as late as like 2003 or 2004.
They might have reissued it a few times
as part
too.
of that like Legends line. Yeah.
Classic.
So, interesting. This one, I like this one.
Okay, so Daniel, confirm my suspicions that this is basically Lego Island.
This
right?
is pretty much straight up Lego Island.
Yeah.
So this is the racetrack from Lego Island. I think
that's the police
this
station.
Is the exact
that's
police station.
And the prison.
Because that's the jail cell.
Yeah.
That's the Brickster's jail cell. You're looking at the back of it, not the front.
And the
lifeguard station.
Yeah.
So
and the race cars are all the same.
Almost all of this, yeah. The little Formula One cars are the same from the racetrack. It didn't include the sort of grandstand for the fans. I thought that was
might be a
maybe
mock.
different.
I don't know.
The space shuttle was not part of Lego Island or this sort of car transporter. But I mean, this is clearly leaning into a lot of those sets. This may have been prior. Yeah, this was '96, so this was a year before the game came out.
Yeah, 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
But this was the pool of city sets that they had to pull from when designing Lego Island. So it makes sense that a lot of them were in the same kind of catalogs and promotional materials.
Yeah, I like the dynamic picture here too, because you got the number 4 race car, you got some rocks.
Yeah, this looks like the boot up screen for Lego Island when it plays that little cinematic thing.
You're flying over,
playing, and the helicopters are going, and the race cars are all going around. So
that's a beautiful little poster.
That's a nice little nostalgic hit there for sure.
Some good stuff on the back too. You got some getting towards the later '90s. You got the Dark Forest and the Royal Knights. You got the Aqua Zone, Aqua Sharks.
Some themes that I would say are in waning popularity compared to the earlier 90s stuff, but I mean, some of it has gotten more expensive as a result. I mean, yeah, those Dark Forest sets are pretty expensive ones now with that more Robin Hood looking figure there. Aqua Sharks, I think, is still a pretty popular theme amongst
Explorians
people.
has yet to take off,
Explorians
I think.
not so much. Yeah, that huge starship is looking very kind of skeletal and thin, so that one was probably not a hot seller.
A little wonky compared to some other ones, but
yeah.
The pirates, these are still cool, but they're not quite the peak, red coat, blue coat pirates of the prior years to this.
Not peak, but I mean, looking back on it, I mean, this is something people like a lot. These Spanish conquistadors with these chrome chest plates. I mean, this is stuff that's not easy to find nowadays.
Expensive, yeah.
Probably because it didn't sell as well back then. And then, again, some smaller Technic sets, but there's a nice train there that
passenger train.
That was a passenger
probably.
train. Yeah, I think I have that one. I got that one in a bulk lot. It's a nice little set.
Great little poster. Yeah.
Yep, so we're moving on to... That was 96. Let's see. This is still 96 here.
Oh, a bigger feature on the Forester.
Bigger feature, yep. So I think that's probably that same picture. Yeah, it is.
Widened out a little bit.
So, but you can see all the way to the top of the mountain here. I mean, in that last one, you couldn't see that at all.
Yeah, it was way too small.
Castle.
And some nice rock work. Maybe not quite as dynamic as the Dragon Masters, but it still got that vibe.
Not quite, but I mean, yeah, the castle at the top of the mountain. I mean, this reminds me of like the way that you always see like at the start of like a Dracula or Frankenstein movie. The castle's way up on top of this cliff, and there's like lightning shooting down.
Yeah, exactly. A fiery sky in the background.
Looks like Transylvania or something.
Yes. And it actually kind of reminds me of actual castles from in that area, or even in Germany, where the castle's always on the top of a little rock spire in the middle of nowhere.
Up there with this long, thin sort of land bridge going to it.
Exactly.
That you could snipe people off of with your bow and arrows.
So this is more typical Foresters. They're ambushing the knights, and they're not really...
It's an ambush. It was a sneak attack, not just a battlefield.
Straight up battle, yeah. It's a little different.
Yeah. So
that's good.
Interesting.
Some good sets, though. And then, there's that...
the Lego Island scene again, and the Pirates, Explorians, but Western making its first appearance.
Those are some pretty well-loved sets, too. It's cool to see very cinematic-looking scene for them, too.
For sure. It's not as clear a depiction, I would say, of like the iconic like Wild West kind of main street or main drag, but you've got the building sort of on the side. You got the bank and the sheriff's department, and then Fort Legorado kind of way off in the distance. But I think they're kind of highlighting more of the minifigures here maybe than the sets.
Yep.
This
is 97?
This might be...
Got the year on each corner.
Oh yeah, 97. yeah.
Very cool. And Wild West getting a even bigger feature here. You got the probably a year older set, and then you got some more Native American tribal stuff here too.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was all sort of cowboys and the more Civil War looking guys in 96, and then maybe the Native Americans didn't come along till 97. But they're definitely featuring the TP here, and that nice chief's hairpiece for sure, the big totem pole, very nice. UFO making an appearance in 97.
Yes. So two of the best UFO sets, honestly, the Cyber Saucer. Yeah, it's looking really
but
good.
they've paired it with RoboForce, which is interesting. And
why is RoboForce getting in on UFOs?
And not Insectoids, because wasn't Insectoids also 97, or was that 98?
I think that's 98.
Okay, maybe
I think
that was
that's
the year.
because the Insectoids was the sequel to UFO, so it probably would have been out at the same time. So.
Yeah, you've got these crazy, like, green... They almost look like big germs or something, but I guess they're supposed to be like big asteroids.
Yeah, the rock color in UFO art and box art was actually like a green and very organic looking, so it's very weird. So
it looks like it's slimy or like covered in like a slime or bacteria or something.
Very alien, yes.
For sure. But yeah, it's interesting. So they've got the more mid-sized set there, not the big one that had like the fiber optics and all
it's like
the
medium-sized versions. And then you got Aqua Raiders down here. Some
a real mix
Headernauts.
of Aquas on here, because you've got the Aquanauts and the Aqua Sharks and Aqua Raiders 1, so it's a little bit of a sampler platter there.
Hodgepodge,
of Aquazone. Some more later pirates. These were definitely ones that were not as popular back then, because some of these are wildly expensive. This little I'm trying to remember what the name of this one is. Crossbone Clipper. I think is the one with the green hull. That one's like stupid expensive for how small it is.
It's just because they're rare. You need that. These must not have sold well in the time, and so they're hard to find now.
And I forget the name of this one, but the one with the big rolling boulder is another one that's just really expensive for what it is. Because people, I think this is technically Pirates 3. No, Pirates 2 maybe. I think Pirates 3 was the one that was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the back here. Fright Nights. This is later than I thought Fright Nights was. I thought Fright Nights was an earlier theme.
Yeah, 97.
It's still pretty rudimentary in its build techniques, and then featuring those big dragons still. Probably one of the last appearances of the big dragon.
I think so. Well, there was one appearance in Nice Kingdom 1. Yeah.
And also, even as late as Orient Expedition, which was like 2003. So I stand corrected on that. But yeah, I would not have guessed that Fright Nights was as late as 1997, but really nice Will of the Witch here.
Fright Nights can often kind of be called the last classic castle theme, because Knights Kingdom 1, things start to really change up as far as set design and kind of the ideology of the Lego castle line, because it's got that big pyramid castle. It's very different.
Yeah.
So
this is
very much the kind of changing time for castles. So it's interesting to see them here. And I think they were fairly popular at the time. They're still pretty affordable. Good
Speaking
sets.
of changing time,
yep,
we've got the Time Twisters here, not the Time Cruisers.
That would have been the
heroes.
prior year. Yeah,
we got the villains here in full force. So you've got the I don't even know the Time Twisters' names. I know the Time Cruisers' names.
There had to be a Baron somewhere, right?
The guy in the crazy like leather hat outfit thing, and then just the straight up skeleton guy. So
I love that Time Twisters logo there. That's pretty cool looking.
They're spooky looking. There's that crazy looking castle.
And then Daniel, what are your thoughts on divers? How do they strike you? Because some people love them, some people hate them.
Divers are okay. I mean, it's one of the classic themes that was better that came out of town, but it's still not super exciting. It's just like city divers sets.
It's kind of nostalgic, but that's
nothing crazy. But you at least had a little bit of that kind of sense of adventure with the treasure chests and the sharks and the diving cages. There were good pieces that came out of divers. I mean, I love those little scooter things, which were also in Aquazone, I believe.
And stingrays and different shark colors. Those are good to see. And then, Daniel, not too long ago, we were talking about this very piece. I wanted to point out it's very small down here in the obligatory Technic section of the poster.
Set 8250. It's the one I call the Seatron submarine, because it's the only set that came with those yellow sort of octagon panels in yellow, which you need for the Seatron monorail. So the only set that came in.
You've got that little Technic diver figure.
That Technic diver that was in the rare parts video that we did. That'll be
2
a
or 3
couple weeks
episodes
ago now. Go check out that last rare parts video. There's a weird Technic figure accessory that's like a oxygen tank, I guess.
I didn't really expect to see it in these posters, but it is the right time, and it makes sense. So
not
that's
very popular set, not one you see very often. It's very hard to come across.
We've seen it maybe once in the store, which is quite a achievement.
I remember looking for it in the graveyard for a while when I was trying to find those Seatron panels. Now this okay.
Here we go.
This is where I think it starts to get good.
We've arrived,
and maybe not in the eyes of most classic fans, but these are some of my favorite themes. Fantastic Adventures spread here in the top left corner. You got the Sphinx Secret Surprise set, which is larger here because I think it's the more iconic one with that blue and red. But you do also have the largest set with the Pharaoh's Forbidden Ruins down there in the corner. So
and this Pharaoh Hotep here, this art that they
scary
did,
looking.
the high detail shadowed with the Regu Ruby down here. Is that how you say to pronounce it?
Yeah, Regu Ruby. That's usually what I say. But he almost looks like a rendering. He's got this kind of shiny quality.
I'm going to have to make a t-shirt out of Hotep right there, because that looks really good. I might have to make some fun designs from
That's
that.
like the great Hotep pose that they went with in the haunted house fairgrounds set with where you like use the light brick to like project your
shine
image.
the
That's
curse,
like the ominous face. Like
that's awesome.
You messed with the wrong dude.
Exactly. You done messed up. Yeah, exactly.
Right below it, Ninja, the second of my 3 favorite themes. We've already covered Mtron. That was my third one.
Yeah, Mtron came a little prior to this.
This is really a pretty simple kind of head-on angle for this set. It's not really a very dynamic angle that you even see on like the box art.
It's very straightforward and seems deliberately so.
Yeah, and that's maybe kind of leaning into more like the Asian art style. You just got the big sort of rising sun kind of coming up.
Interesting little foundation for the fortress. They got a little bridge and a...
I can't tell if that's built or if that's just sort of added in as art. It seems like they're probably moved away from the actual physical building of like
probably rendering or drawing things at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be more hand-drawn as opposed to actually doing like the sculpted rock work, because they were probably spending too much money paying model makers to do that.
They're paying a whole crew for a couple pictures that they'll use for a few illustrations.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
here's we see Insectoids 98. That makes sense for the years because you got 97 UFO, 98 Insectoids coming out. Oh man, what a misstep.
Yeah. So those first two I talked about are great. Adventures and Ninja, because they were new Lego themes, but when you start to look at the sub-themes that were coming from previous things like Space and Aquazone, those are starting to deteriorate in
when
quality.
you make a copy of a copy of a copy, it starts to...
it's like long-running cartoons or sitcoms, you just run out of ideas after a while. So Insectoids is widely considered one of the worst space themes.
It hasn't come into its appreciation period yet.
Yeah.
We're still kind of like, eh.
And then from Aquazone, Stingrays and Hydronauts are two of my least favorite from all of Aquazone. And
I have a soft spot
on Aquazone after that for a long time.
I have a soft spot for Stingrays, but I can see why people don't like it.
It just doesn't do it for me. Oh gosh, we haven't even gotten to the back of this one.
Yeah, okay, so 2 of these themes really speak to me.
Yeah.
Rescue over here with the broken bridge and 300 casualties.
Let's say all 4 of these, I would say, are not fondly looked upon by really anyone. Rescue, Cyber Slam, Radio Control, and Extreme Team. These are the ones that when you buy like a bulk bin
in the bargain
90s,
bin,
these are the ones you don't even bother to put back together because they're worthless. But yes, go ahead. Talk about this dynamic rescue scene.
As a kid who grew up in this time period and was too poor to buy that many sets, I got like a few adventures ones, but I never had the budget for Rescue or Extreme Team, but I always wanted them so badly. And this poster is so absolutely outrageous. You have what looks like hurricane force winds blowing over palm trees. You have 5 lightning strikes in the sky. You've got helicopters airlifting out injured civilians.
The bridge is blown out.
Clearly there was a parade happening on the bridge and then a hurricane hit. And so it's just insane.
Yeah, we've got at least, let's see, we've got several people drowning.
It's quite the scene. I love it.
This makes the Lego City commercials from the early 2000s look like
so tame.
A nice day in the park. This is, like... The rescue team is
extreme, almost as extreme as Extreme Team over here.
They might need to call them the National Guard if the rescue team can't get this mess sorted out. But they're doing it in the middle of the storm while it's still going on.
Exactly. And then Extreme Team, they're ziplining over a huge gorge. They're just whitewater rafting off a waterfall. It's insane. They have high-speed vehicles and off-roaders. The 90s were something else, man. It was great. But
I mean, this is what you think of when you think of the 90s. You think of
insane
explosions and high-octane stunts, wet and wild stunts.
Exactly.
This has got it all. Cyber Slam. It just, like the turquoise and purple color scheme. That's actually more like 80s, but like the jazz pattern that everybody latches onto. That's great. What I always think of when I see like the Technic competition and Cyber Slam stuff. That turquoise 90s. And purple is so 80s and 90s.
So many good things here. But sets that are really not appreciated and very affordable if you want to collect these. But
borderline worthless.
Yeah, but the artwork was something else. I can really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh man, that was
here.
good.
I'll just let you do this.
Okay, so
that's all you. Buddy.
I'm not sure if these were exclusive to Rock Raiders sets. They were definitely. I have one of these that I had originally. I'm probably going to get another one like this as a cleaner copy. But this is advertising the Rock Raiders PC CD-ROM game available in summer of '99. And this is a lot of fun. So it has all the Rock Raiders characters in the back here. None of them have their helmets, which is weird.
It is weird. They've all got bald heads.
This is actually a beta version of the game prototype. And because the crystals are blue and they're all the Jet figure.
Oh, you're right.
And yeah, it's very interesting. So that's they were working on the game as they're advertising for it.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's all Jet instead of the more traditional orange suit with a smiley face in the game. So.
Yeah, for just the standard worker.
Standard worker.
Characters.
So, but yeah, great piece of art with the rock monster trying to smash
Chief.
Chief.
Yeah, you've got Chief all over the posters, and you couldn't.
A rare exclusive figure you could get a few years later, and
couldn't find
probably Lego Store exclusive.
He didn't exist at this point. If this is part of the game coming out, he didn't come out till was it 2001?
Yeah, I think it was a couple years later.
2001 that those minifigure packs came out.
But Rock Raiders.
I love that they put the Slug on here, and he's not even like.
He's not even a piece.
He's not even in the scene. It's like they just took a model of the Slug and just sort of like put him on the side of this poster. He's just sort of floating there.
Exactly. But yeah.
It's so funny.
Confusing for sure, but I think there's still some things to like, and the game is still well loved. If you want to play the game now, go download Manic Miners off of its website.
Still need to play it.
It's fantastic, and they just added the hostile creatures. Everything works great, so try it out. But yeah, that poster is awesome if you like Rock Raiders. Speaking of Rock Raiders,
yeah, we've got Rock Raiders. Sort of. This one's more focused on the sets. So this is I would say almost all of the main sets except for the HQ, right?
Yeah, the HQ, the crew pack, just a few things missing from it, but that's
you're
most
missing
of
the
it.
biggest one, and
Chrome
then
Crusher
some
is shown here, but yeah, not there.
Yeah, you got the Chrome Crusher and the ones.
I think you got Zach the Lego Maniac helping out with the mines and stuff.
This is the start of the appearance of him. So this is 1999. Mm-hmm. That was probably when Zach Lego Maniac started to make an appearance.
Because he wasn't Max at that time. I think he was still Zach.
No, Max was much later. But there was earlier on. There was some confusion because there was Jack and Zach. I think Jack came before.
It evolved from Jack to Zach to Max, I think.
Yeah, they always kept sort of a similar name, but Zach is the one that probably stuck around the longest and is probably the most recognizable to people.
Yeah, the blonde hair with the sunglasses.
I mean, I grew up with Max, but I think Zach is still more iconic, I think.
I remember the Lego Maniac.
Yeah, exactly. They had him in the ads and the commercials. Max was really more just the mascot of like the magazines and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
But a nice Star Wars spread up here. So 99. This is really only the first sets, so not some of the more iconic ones. But I mean, you've got your X-wing, your Y-wing, your Vader's TIE fighter,
like the Scout Troopers.
So some of the more standard vehicles. The first of a long, sad history of Luke's land speeders. So.
That's a good year for Lego, though.
They were picking the core vehicles to kind of start out on in that first year, but not really going with some of the bigger stuff, like the Falcon, I think, that didn't come out till the fall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, some big hits and big misses on the back
Big hits and big misses. That's a good way to sum it up. Let's start with the hits.
Ninja.
Great spread from Ninja. This is the second wave of Ninja, because you're starting to get the white Emperor figure and the red ninjas. So two of those second wave ninja sets, but still got the flying ninja fortress there. Oh, and then this is one of the only ninja sets I refuse to collect because, like I was talking about earlier, it's a cage on wheels with this awful looking like dragon head thing on top. I hate it. It's the worst ninja set of all time.
I didn't even know there was a set. I thought, like, what is that?
I will never be a ninja. I will never have a complete ninja collection because I refuse to buy that set.
I know what to get you for Christmas, Daniel.
Yeah, sure. Adventures Blimp, fantastic.
Yeah, that is great.
I see why it didn't sell well, though, because on this picture it looks like a giant plastic blimp, and the undercarriage is really pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's not well advertised here. It's also apparently nose diving into the jungle, so it just doesn't really, not its best angle.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of making an off-color joke, it's looking like it's pulling a Hindenburg.
Yeah. But I will say that Adventurers did fairly well in the jungle. It's still a pretty well-regarded theme. It's not as much as the Desert Egypt theme, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
The other pictures barely need mention. You got Lego City Center.
City Center is a big nothing burger theme.
Pretty forgettable. And then people actively dislike Spaceport. I know you don't like
Spaceport. Okay, I'll say that's the word. I don't know if you count it as a space theme or a city theme, but it's
kind of stuck in the middle.
It's terrible. They were relying too heavily on the electronic pieces, and the sets were mostly just tan base plates.
And some white cylinders and a few things. That's
the
about it.
The minifigures were bad. It's just
very forgettable, except for the few video game inclusions. They were a pretty tough team to beat in Lego Soccer Mania. Anyway,
Can't say I played that video game either.
Throwbots also pretty forgettable, as they've been very much eclipsed by Bionicle just a few years later. So
I still have a soft spot for Throwbots. I think there were some cool parts that came out of it. I remember this blue one that has the yellow hose. A lot of them had gears in interesting colors.
Yeah.
So this is still some of the only ways to get classic Technic gears in colors like green, white, blue, red. You know, that's the only way we got those gears in some interesting colors.
Better than Robo Riders, but I think
fun.
Yeah, Bionicle definitely outlived them. So.
Yeah, better than Robo Riders for sure. So here you go. This should be
next year.
Let's
right?
see if this is 2000.
It's either late 99 or 2000.
Okay, so this is 2000.
Sweet.
So I was right. So we started to get things like the big Millennium Falcon set. It wasn't until the second year. So as well as some of the prequel-oriented sets, I think everything here was
original trilogy.
Yeah. So in the second year of Star Wars, you started to see them take more risks on stuff.
Yeah,
I
Gungan
think
Patrol.
there were prequel sets in the 99 line.
Yeah,
They're
might
just
have been.
not featured here.
I think there was a Naboo Starfighter, right?
Yeah.
Because it's shown on the advert here, but not the actual set.
But they started to branch out and take more chances on things. The Slave 1, I'm pretty sure, was a 2000 set. Sith Infiltrator is still widely regarded as probably one of the worst sets from the first couple waves.
Well, you got to think of, perspective, okay? Because, like, the other sets that are happening during this time are also pretty blocky and steady.
Oh, but come on. There was better build techniques in 1995 than this set.
Maybe, yeah. Well, yeah, they're going strictly off of what's happening in a movie, not their own, bespoke windscreens and stuff.
2000 is when things started to go downhill, I would say. When you saw actual building techniques kind of reverting in quality, I would say the Sith Infiltrator is a good indicator of that. Another good one is the Dino Island sets from Adventurers.
They had some difficulty with those.
Were really poor build techniques. They were just relying too heavily on big, chunky pieces.
Yeah. One thing I think that was actually a glimmer of decent stuff was the Arctic sets, because they actually have a lot of classic space vibe to them. So.
I really like the classic Arctic sets, far better than any modern city interpretation of Arctic. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I like the nostalgic parts and build techniques, but something about it is cooler to me.
Steve and I collected a couple of those. Those are very nostalgic for us. And then soccer was fun to play, but very, not as collectible as some of the other sets, even on this page. So
definitely not collectible, but I would say it was a good play feature that they embraced with soccer, and then later developed into basketball.
Oh, here we go. Robo Riders, top of the page. Yeah. So, Robo Riders, they had a few interesting wheels, I guess, but everything else is very forgettable. Even the box art's interesting, though. That's a pretty colorful illustrations.
More
Knights Kingdom 1, kind of the middle child of castle themes. It really gets glossed over quite a bit. And then a brief advert, mostly text
teaser,
for Adventurers.
Coming July 2000, so this must have been a first half of the year insert.
Yeah, you got just a few dinosaurs featured, and Dr. Kilroy with a video camera, so that was kind of like, okay.
But, if I saw those molded dinosaur heads, that's probably the best thing that came out of Dino Island. So
probably a highlight for that year. And then more City Center, very forgettable.
Yeah, nothing.
again, Lego Soccer Mania, they were the toughest team in their bracket, so it was...
I think City Center might have been a 4+.
It has that vibe.
Looking at these pieces, I'm going to guess that was a Town Junior sub-theme.
At least younger ages for building, 5 to 8 ages.
And then just race. We just have race.
Yep, that looks a lot like Stunt Rally. The game was pretty fun, but that's some of the sets that were featured.
I'm sure they were fun cars to play with, but just real nothing.
Not good for collecting, and kind of overall community appreciation isn't there yet. So.
All right, we got the start of Bionicle. This must have been second half of the year 2000.
Also, I think that's the first. Well, we're seeing Lego.com a little bit, but that's really starting to push the website.
Now this is, you've got this classic. They had this graphic for a long time. This sort of Windows 95 looking browser here with the go to www.lego.com and join the fun. They used that graphic for a long time.
It's great. Very iconic.
But yes, the start of Bionicle. So there's your original. Is that all 6 of them?
That's the Toa. Yep, that's all 6
that's
Toa.
all 6 of them.
Not
so they've got the 5 here, and then Onua over there by himself.
Not the accessory kits like the Matorans or the monsters, but that was the massively successful line from Lego at the time. Everything else was not doing well. Bionicle was its only moneymaker at that time.
And they didn't feature the packaging on here at all. The canisters are nowhere to be seen, which I think was one of the stronger aspects of it.
It's a good selling point
in terms of its marketing. So interesting.
Alpha Team. The theme is well regarded. The sets are not particularly exciting, but it's cool to see the characters. Very unique. I know
Steven has a much bigger soft spot for Alpha Team. I'm more partial to things like Agents and things that sort of developed out of it later. But I think the one thing that Alpha Team had that was better than that was it was focused more on the heroes, and they each had different names and attributes and stories more akin to Rock Raiders. Each person had a specialty.
You could almost say they were like a successor to that concept. So
whereas Agents, where they sort of tweaked it, was the heroes were really just... I mean, they had names, but they were
generic.
more forgettable.
Yeah.
It was Agents more focused on a wide array of villains.
Yeah.
Alpha Team had the one kind of big bad Bond villain.
Exactly.
But Agents was more like these fantasy.
I think the villains in Agents were better though, because it's like you
better,
had some really wild characters. They really focused on the villains in that one.
It was more like comic book villains in terms of crazy mutations and things.
I got a little Star Wars down there.
A little more Star Wars, largely the same sets. You get the Falcon, the TIE Fighter, the Droid Escape.
Soccer.
Knights Kingdom 1 again, more soccer. So stuff we've already kind of talked about.
Ooh, here we go.
This
Life
is
on
some
Mars.
great new stuff. A half-page spread for Life on Mars. Look at all those wacky colors.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine the expense to make a huge air pump system for a set?
Oh my gosh, yeah. But look, everywhere you look, you've got sand purple, sand red, sand blue, crazy, those plastic kind of solar panel pieces, chrome blue. Oh, it's no wonder they blew the bank on this.
Exactly.
On this
Teal
thing.
alien parts.
Look at the new molds everywhere. This claw piece, this cockpit piece was new. These wheels were new. The big jet engine fans. Yeah, all of the air pump system and the hoses.
I think the helmet was a new mold too.
Pieces. I'm sure the helmet was new. I can't imagine how much money they spent on Life of Mars alone. They
must have lost a lot on that. That's
sure
huge.
That was a major loss. All of the alien minifigure pieces, well, apart from the droid torso, I guess.
And those haven't gone up too badly. They're still a little bit collectible. Yeah, a couple of the aliens can be hard to find, but everything else is pretty affordable. So.
Crazy.
Another wild set for its time, Lego Studios, the Steven Spielberg signature there. So.
But one that I think sold well. It's one that you see a lot. My older brothers had it. We see him come through the store fairly often. We see him in the graveyard a lot. I think a lot of kids bought this and played with it and made stop-motion movies with it.
I see a lot more studios than Life on Mars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this was a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the Steven Spielberg licensed movie maker. It came with this software and this wacky camera thing.
I wish I could get that software working. That'd be so much fun to make a movie out of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. The camera was terrible quality.
Got like two
megapixels. The
megapixels.
set itself was cool. You get the molded dino. You got the road plate that came apart and had lava coming up through the streets. It was cool.
It's a good set.
And I'll let you finish that one off.
All right, so Daniel doesn't like to talk about them, but here's a Lego Zalex here for
fine.
2001. The sets were a fun little play for 5 minutes, but not too notable. I think their real time to shine was in the Lego Racers 2 video game. That was quite the adventure racing against all of them to beat Rocket Racer. It was great. But yeah, that's a good poster from, what is that, 2002? 2001.
2001, yeah. Let's see.
Now we're in 2002.
Year. This should be 2002.
2002. What a year.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years ago, over 20 years ago now, wow.
21 years ago. Yeah, if you were born in 2002, you can drink alcohol now.
Jeez, yeah.
If you had your birthday.
What a wild 20 years it's been. But yeah, look at these. You got the Ewoks.
Yeah, Star Wars showing a nice Endor scene there. So the Speeder Bikes was a set that I think had been out for a couple years at this point, but getting the Ewoks and the ATST Walker there as well. Still more soccer. Still leaning into the
Still
sports.
dragging along.
Just having different configurations and shapes of soccer fields. I guess they just churn those out year after year.
Steven and I bought a couple of them. They're good.
Starting to see the Harry Potter sets. Really nice array here with the castle as well as Hagrid's hut and the Hogwarts Express. I think that's a nice way to do it. I mean, the Hogwarts promotional materials a lot of the time we're leaning into trying to get you to get all of them because of the way the sets could combine and
yeah.
stack in that very rudimentary kind of modular system. But this is, I think it's nice to show 3 different things in these promotions.
And very, some of the most iconic things about Harry Potter, for sure, yeah.
And then we've just got a waste of space with Jack Stone here.
Jack Stone, boy.
Your parents fell for it, though.
Well,
my parents didn't.
No, they didn't. They weren't, like, particularly excited to get these from me. I just
asked for it?
I really wanted Jack Stone because I thought it was the next best thing.
You couldn't tell, looking at this, that the set has 10 pieces
I thought that hair was removable.
I can count the pieces in this set, Mark. Look, it's a tail fin, a rotor, an arm.
Oh, I found out. I was quickly disappointed.
Oh my gosh!
And then only years later, I was playing with fire and burning my Jack Stone figures.
You should have been. The back of this. Look at this. This is the most subdivided one. Look, there's
wild
like
collection.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 9 or 10 different themes.
Studios is back. It's another alternate view of that.
Yeah, view of the movie maker. Alpha Team, we're in Mission Deep Sea. Nice big red text there.
Life on Mars. Still
again.
Floating around.
The sort of unbranded dinosaurs, but showing off those really nice printed pieces there, in contrast to the sort of all molded ones from Dino Island or the movie maker. An ad for Legoland, California. So I don't know what year Legoland California opened, but
probably at least a little bit before this time because it's advertising the roller coasters and all that. Got the Bo Rock here, new for 2002. Some Enemies of Bionicle. Yeah. And all the video games.
Look at that, Lego software.
Everything we've referenced. We've got the Lego Island 2 reference.
2, yeah, because it's that newer style pepper.
Lego software, Lego Racers 2 here.
With those
and Lego Soccer Mania, or
Soccer,
Football Mania for
Bionicle.
International. And Bionicle did have some games, but apparently they got kind of sidelined because they've...
I thought the Game Boy ones came out.
That's true.
Because they're advertising Game Boy Color and Advance, PC CD-ROM, and PlayStation, so...
I know that there's been a lot of Bionicle game remakes happening recently, and they're getting a lot of steam, so it's good for them. Yeah. But we passed on the most important thing that Lego is teasing in this year.
Yeah, a major teaser. This is the teasiest thing on here.
Yeah, the quest begins now. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't say what it is.
It's
doesn't say the name of it.
But here you can see it's clearly
all silhouettes.
It's clearly the silhouette of the most amazing Lego theme ever. It's Galador, and the quest for the gates of Galador is going to begin soon.
Galador.
The world wasn't ready.
Heroes of the Outer Dimension?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
The world was ready. The Heroes of the Outer Dimension. Such a good...
and then...
Defenders of the Outer Dimension.
That's right. Wait, is that really it?
They mostly
Dude
just...
Is the abbreviation
there? They mostly just ran away, though, so it wasn't really defending anything.
2003 is as late as we have for these, but it doesn't mean there isn't good stuff on here. So, the front, I would say, is actually the worst side. They're promoting NBA, which was the natural successor to soccer.
Those actually work great, but they weren't collectible.
Not collectible at all. Well, people still come in asking for the minifigures every now and then. Now they're after the ones that are the most expensive. People want the
iconic
Kobe
players,
and LeBron and Shaq, which are they're highly collectible. They're $50 or $60.
That's true. You're right.
For some of those guys, but then
Creator Robot.
I mean, the Creator. Yeah, that's
we got that one.
Super exciting. Yeah,
but we don't have it anymore. It's very forgettable.
Not hot sellers, but that's kind of the direction I think Lego was leaning in 2003, as they were kind of trying to refocus on the core system and the brick and stuff was stuff that you could turn into other things.
Exactly.
As opposed to just buying sets. But some nice stuff on the back here. Again, from Bionicle, we've got the full spread of Borat Kal, yeah. Star Wars just showing off some of the mini build things, kind of interestingly enough, but a weird kind of creepy pose from Yoda there.
Yoda giving you the death stare there. It's pretty...
Yeah. Some motorcycles from racers. Really sort of a teaser for Chamber of Secrets, I would say, because you've got the castle, which had already been out for a year or two at this point, but they are showing off the basilisk and sort of the mouth he comes out of, but none of the real Chamber of Secrets sets. So that one's really more of a teaser.
And then quite the Orient Expedition poster there.
Yeah, nice spread for Orient Expedition. You've got the sort of India represented down here at the bottom with the Scorpion Palace, and then the sort of Nepal or Everest sub theme of Orient Expedition there.
Yep, and you could request a free catalog back then, too. That's
request
great.
A free catalog, yeah. You could sign up to receive... I mean, they've been doing shop-at-home catalogs for years at this point.
Yeah.
And that's, I would say, the way that most people shop. This was just, if you bought a set
that was extra
off the store shelf and maybe were not already receiving shop-at-home catalogs. This was to get you to sign up for the catalog, where they could really give you an in-depth look at all of the sets available that year.
Exactly.
The clip-out thing to mail in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those service packs and sort of more obscure small stuff was heavily featured in those shop-at-home catalogs. But this was a way, if you just went into Toys R Us or
you just bought one off store shelves
or whatever and bought a set off of shelves, you had this throw-in thing that you could see what else was available.
Exactly. Yeah. What a fun collection of nostalgic sets and set art. Mm-hmm. Some really unique things to see there for a deep dive of a Lego fan like we are. So, yeah.
I know I've got no surplus of wall space in my Lego room, but if you do, if you've got some up high and just want some little things to display, these would not be a bad way to get some fun vintage kind of art and graphics to display it at a pretty affordable price.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got these anywhere from $12 to $15 each. So if any of these were interesting to you, just let us know. Send us an email. We can get them to you. We have a big stack of them we'll have presented in the store soon.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if you have a little wall space, 2 or 4 of these, it looks great, So I'm like you, Daniel. I have not a single inch.
If you wanted to put them in a nicer frame, you could.
Space.
I'm sure this is 8.5 by 11, so it's probably a common enough size that you could go to Hobby Lobby or something and get a cheap old frame on sale.
I know the Rock Raiders one we talked about a few posters back. I do have that in a little frame in my Rock Raiders section.
There you go.
So it works great. So
nice.
But yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble about all these cool old posters and listening to us.
It was a way to talk about themes that we don't want to do a whole episode on.
Exactly. Yeah, like sports or
or city center,
Alpha
or
Team.
Never. Mark my words, there will never be a Between the Studs episode about Spaceport. So.
I think we can all agree on that one. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
See you later.